Donald Trump just tweeted, for the purpose of creating conflict and confusion, some in the fake news media are saying that it is the governor's decision to open up the states, not that of the president of the United States and the federal government. Let it be fully understood that this is incorrect. No, it's not incorrect. It is not the president's place. Well, I think what he's doing here is, you notice he's not flexing the muscle of the presidency to close down the country. He's letting the governors close it down. He's fighting now for the ability to open it back up because he thinks that governors are going to fight him. Democratic governors are going to fight him for political reasons, I think. Either that or he's just wrong, and it's just wrong. But he hasn't taken that authority to close it down. Why is he taking that authority to open it back up? Because he thinks that these governors are going to, some of these governors, look at the one in Virginia, not willing to open up until the middle of June. Now, maybe that's right, but I doubt it.
Yeah, no, and I know they've closed now the schools in New York all the way till, I think, June 26th or something was the end of their school calendar, which is not a surprise in New York. I mean, it's going to go on for a while there. But I think Cuomo said something to the effect of, look, if we're closing the schools down, that means we're closing everything down. The economy's closed down until then. So they're looking, now they are the most extreme part of this,
That's
right?
a different case. Yeah.
It's a different
case.
But you're right. It's
New York is New York.
Yeah, it's going to be different. I hope it's just it seems he's been holding on to this power for a while in this idea that it's kind of like a threat almost, right? He's saying, if you don't handle this rationally, I'm going to step in. I don't know that he has any power to step in this situation. Certainly it would be challenged, and I don't know that it would be constitutional to say you have to. I don't know that he could overrule the states like that. I don't know that he has the power to that. He's obviously trying to claim it. I don't know that he has it. I think one of the best parts of the way he's handled this so far is that he's been restrained. We were just praising him earlier in the show for his restraint in trying to grab all sorts of national power. Hopefully he's not going down that road. And I don't know how you would do it. You're going to order people to go back to work. I don't even know how the function of that would work. You can say, I guess you could try to threaten a state by saying, don't punish people if they do go back to work. But I don't know how I don't think our system would allow for
none
for
of this
that.
would. Yeah. None of that would. Checks and balances would kick in. The president couldn't do that. If the governor says, hey, we're in a national emergency, and the governor has the right, or state emergency, the governor has a right to declare a state emergency. Now, that could screw with their federal funding, but I don't think the president would do that unless it was really obvious. Like, he's not going to screw with the federal funding of New York. Why would you screw with the federal funding of New York? Unless it was like, we're keeping it closed for the next 18 months. Well, okay. Really? You're going to keep the entire state of New York closed for the next 18 months. And there are those people that are talking that way. I don't think Cuomo is, and I don't know any governors that are, but I've heard people say, we should be closed for the next 18 months. We are talking about rolling blackouts for the next 18 to 24, and that might be wise. It might be if Dallas all of a sudden starts to close Dallas down for a little while. Everybody in this area stay in place. I don't think there's anything wrong with rolling blackouts as long as we know what the metrics are.
Yeah, look, there are certain situations that get too bad, and you have to do things. Though it's going to be interesting to see how long people can take that. And we keep using this 18 months. I mean, you did the coronavirus update. There's no definitive end to this, right? Like,
no,
the idea that we're going to have a vaccine in 12 to 18 months, doctors are calling it a miracle. They've never done it that fast, ever. They also told us very clearly that we were going to have an HIV vaccine when that all started up. We never got one. You know what another coronavirus is? The common cold. Do we have a vaccine to that? No, we don't. These are not sure things that will ever get a vaccine. I mean, probably the better possibility, which could provide a shorter term solution to this and is realistic that we can hopefully depend on, would be a treatment, right? If one of these things, like hydroxychloroquine, has obviously been the one talked about the most, but there's lots of them. There's been some positives about another one that Trump has mentioned that I won't, one of the antiviral things that they had initially designed for HIV, wound up having some promise in one of these clinical studies as well. All we need is to find something that will back it off from, if you're in the hospital with a 10 out of 10, it can bring it back to an 8 out of 10. It's really all we need. And that sort of thing, I think, with the full power of not only the United States and capitalism and innovation, everybody trying to find the same thing, it's really happening around the world as well. I'm optimistic we'll get there eventually, but it is until we have that, we can talk all we want about opening up the economy. We've looked at these numbers like crazy. All the numbers are coming out before any government bans were instituted. And you saw 50, 60, 70% drop-offs in traffic to restaurants because people didn't want to die, right? And until you can convince them they're not going to die, it doesn't matter if you, quote unquote, open up the economy. People don't want to go outside right now. This is like, it's not just government restrictions doing this.
Right. It's going to take a massive and the best ad campaign of probably American history to get us to go back quickly to normal life, going to restaurants, going into crowds, having parties, everything else. It'll take a long time. Some people will do it, but I think there's going to be a lot of people that will stay out of the restaurants for a very, very long time unless they cut the number of people in there by half or whatever. And still then, I don't know. I'm not that comfortable. I don't know, I don't know all the people in there. And I don't know who is sick and who's not sick, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, until you can come up with a vaccine, we won't be comfortable. And if you don't come up with a vaccine, at least have some sort of way of understanding you've been tested and you don't currently have it or you have the antibodies. When that happens, then we'll start to normalize again. But without those things, it's not going to be normal. But we can open the economy back up more than it already is. There is a great article on Medium, and it was the 6 or 7 reasons why we should open the economy. First one, the curve. We've now gone from predictions of millions of deaths to hundreds of thousands, and now we're predicting about 60,000 deaths. The next one is economic collapse and unemployment is destroying families. This one is really, really true. We'll be lucky if the job losses are not 25 million. And to put that into perspective, 25 million is about the population of the great state of Texas. And the great state of Texas is the size of half of the continental U.S.
And that's not even, it's obviously going to be worse than that. Right? We're already at 16. Right? Like it's obviously going to be worse than that.
So, and that's only the ones that we're counting. There are so many problems that come with unemployment. The fact that you'll have suicides, you'll have health problems, you won't be able to see doctors as much. All of these things that causes massive suicidal tendencies. Next one, we have not saturated the healthcare system. In New York, we came close, but the rest is pretty good. And the reason why we're having problems is because of PPEs and things like that. If we can get the mask situation under control, the federal government ordered 500 million masks. If we can get the mask shortage under control and we can get all of the gowns and everything else that we need for the hospitals, if we can get the medicine that we need for the hospitals, as long as we don't burn our doctors and patients out, we're doing good. We'll be set for the next wave. If we're not set for the next wave, there is a problem. We should be working on that right now. Suicide will kill almost as many people as COVID this year. In 2018, there were 48,000 recorded suicides, but economic ruin results in a wide range of health problems, suicide, mental health issues, loss of health insurance, reluctance to visit doctors in light of the financial hardship, increases in substance abuse, blah, blah, blah. That is on top of the delay in non-COVID care. So 48,000 deaths in 2018. How many suicides will there be this year? The PPE, limited, but now becoming more available. And this one is the last point, and this is one I've been ringing the bell on from the beginning of this. Authorities should show clear evidence regarding the benefits of indefinite lockdown. We need to see what the parameters are. What are you looking for? What are you looking at to make these decisions? Right now, we know that the states have been looking at COVID Now, this website that was started by a group of progressive activists who were leading a charge against Donald Trump. Most of the states were using that. It's unbelievably flawed. The numbers on COVID Now are way, way off. Showed 1 million dead in Texas alone. Ridiculous kinds of numbers. The states were using that website to predict what was going on. That stuff has got to stop. We need to know, what are the parameters? What are you looking for in numbers? What are the things in the hospitals that you're looking for? What is the number of new infections that says, okay, we're probably pretty safe? I'd like to have a discussion of those things in public. I'd like to know what those things are that are keeping us from opening or telling us we should open. What are those things, and are they sane? Are they rational? And are they scientifically provable? This is too big to go off of just somebody's gut.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. And hopefully we're at least a little bit past the top of this, right? I mean, the deaths dropped yesterday pretty significantly. There's part of that is just recording in that, for whatever reason, Sundays, especially Easter Sunday, there's people aren't working and don't necessarily report every single death. If we can get past this week without over 2,000 again, because we've been over 2,000 a couple times, once or twice. If we can get through this week without 2,000, it may show that we are this, which would be really encouraging. But
really encouraging.
Like Detroit was a great example. We talked to someone earlier from Detroit about how bad this was. I mean, Detroit is really in the middle of it. New Orleans is in the middle of it. There's several cities that are breaking out. They're not going to be as bad as New York, obviously population-wise, but they are, on the wrong side of this, and it's increasing or getting worse in some cases. So hopefully we can at least get past this peak. And then once we get past the panic of this first moment, there's going to be a period here coming, I think, to the end of the month where this sort of organized, hopefully rollout of people being able to go back and feeling that they're not going to, get sick just by going out and doing the basic things they want to do with life. Hopefully that's right around the corner.